I want to know is how much do I weigh?
You talked about weight there, but I would prefer to say body composition. And you can progress, look at the progress there by just how your clothes fit you, really. And some people have a very flash way of doing it with DEXA scans or calipers. Some people use the tape measure. Some people use their eyes and a mirror. But I think that is possibly the easiest thing to look at is body composition, because it's pretty much objective, isn't it? You just look at yourself in the mirror and you can say, yeah, these clothes fit better. My pants feel better, or wow, they're getting tight and that's not good. So when we're talking about progress, most people think of that first off because the before and after pictures and Transformation Thursday and all this sort of stuff. But I think progress should be also with things like your mental well-being and how you're sleeping. Yeah. Those things, how calm you feel, or your levels of anxiety. I think they're really good. How your cravings are getting less and less. How many times you urinate in the night. Those sort of things. So I think when you start with carnivore, you've got to list your whys, because if you don't know what your whys are, why you're doing it, you can't really log your progress. So, for instance, if you started carnivore and your reason for it was anxiety, why are you tracking your weight? Do you need to do that? I think the first thing you need to do is say, right, what is the prime objective for this? I'm going to track that, and everything else will then follow. So I often say fat loss is a side effect of the carnivore diet, because a lot of people don't come for that reason. They are on diabetic meds. So we use that as a really, again, a subjective thing. And they're on X amount of insulin per day, and they just want to reduce that medication. That's really easy. You could track that every single day. Actually, strange enough, most diabetics I know do tend to keep a lot of data. They're very interested, especially if they've got the continual blood glucose monitor. They can see all that progress. Your continual glucose monitor, if you're a diabetic, or even if you're just doing it as a biohack, you can see that trending downwards daily, which is really good. Which brings me on to the next one, which is blood pressure. You can write your blood pressure down and you can see that coming down and down and down. So straight away, possibly when you first looked at this video, you thought, oh, progress, that's going to be people with, big trousers holding them out. And I used to fit in these and now look at me. Well, that is progress. That is progress. But how about that? Lowering your blood pressure, lowering your blood glucose, lowering your medication dosage, feeling calmer, sleeping better, not being disturbed at night because you're urinating 6 times a night and now it's only 3. That's a real live example of somebody this week of progress. I got a little bullet point of what's gone on. Not one was about weight. So there's some other things which are very subjective, like pain. So if you've got pains in the joints, pains in your knees, back, or whatever, that's something that you could put a number on for yourself. And you could say, right, well, 10 is I can't get out of bed because I'm absolutely in agony. 1 is I never think about it. Where is this pain? And you could say 7. And then after 2 weeks, it might be 5. And that's progress as well. So for me, and I suppose because of my career and my qualifications, I tend to go more on sort of the academic side and the clinical side and the health side and the medication side. So if you can get off medications, reduce your dosage, improve your blood glucose, get some markers down like that, then I think that is the best way to look at progress. Many people are worried about their blood urea nitrogen going up slightly, which is a blood test marker, and that progress might seem bad in the context that it's gone up against these normative values or reference ranges, whatever you want to call it. But in reality, it's simply because you're eating more protein, or I would say eating an adequate amount of protein. So your blood urea nitrogen goes up. So in mainstream medicine, that might seem like a, what's the opposite of progress? A regress. It might be getting worse. But actually, with the carnivore diet, it's just a reflection of the fact you're eating more protein. There are a couple of other markers, for instance, uric acid, that can go up. Many people are worried about that. I don't see that as an issue because it's a very powerful antioxidant, much more powerful than vitamin C. And you don't need so much vitamin C when you're eating this way, because there's no competition between the glucose receptor and the vitamin C receptor. So you need more vitamin C when you're eating more carbohydrates. So some of the markers, some of the things that you might deem as going the wrong way, actually, when you put it in the context of carnivore, are going the way you would expect. So I think with progress, this is why the community is so important, and talking to other members and getting the full picture about everything, because not everything is linear and as obvious as it might seem. So if you have anything that's worrying you, always ask the question before you panic, because there will, in more often than not cases, you will find there is a logical, common sense answer, and you'll totally get it and think, that makes total sense.